Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Monday, February 13th, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. You're looking at the coronal mass ejection from the X flare back on February 11th, and it was halo. So we could be seeing some geomagnetic activity hitting Earth in just a day, and we'll get to that full forecast in just a moment. The big story: severe weather, heavy snow, flooding threatens millions as back-to-back storm systems slide across the U.S. Keep calm. It's boom time. We're talking about double trouble. 1-2 whammy. And actually, it's a triple, it's the trifecta. There's a third storm following the second. But the first storm now developing in the southwest is going to move through the Four Corners region. It's snowing outside right now and will be bombing out in this region over the next 24 to 36 hours. Behind it, a second storm, and the full forecast is coming up as two storm systems are set to bring snow and severe weather to much of the U.S. Here's the rainfall forecast just in the next, through Friday. Look at that. 2 to 3 inches from Nashville to Atlanta, Little Rock over to Raleigh. So we're going to be seeing lots of moisture in the southeast from this system. And in just the next few hours, we're going to be seeing some snow from Show Low, Arizona, all the way up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin from the system. Heavy rain for Twin Cities and potential blizzard conditions for western Minnesota forecast for Tuesday, and that's their lose day. In fact, a multi-hazard winter storm will track across the U.S. A multi-hazard storm will cross the lower 48 this work week with a cold front slicing through the northwest today. The storm will become better organized on Tuesday over the Four Corners region with mountain snow and winds. And by Wednesday and Thursday, a streak of heavy snow will likely exist from the central Rockies to the Great Lakes. And severe storms will be possible from the southern U.S. to the Ohio Valley. Look at all the weather watches. Click on your county for more information. Winter storm watches and warnings up all over the entire West. And by tomorrow, that will shift east. Let's take a quick look at the GFS model as we move it through. You can see the system developing in the Four Corners region here. Not much happening until, well into Tuesday when it develops here, and will bomb out at 995 as the low. Secondary low is going to be up here, and they are going to travel on the same line. Take a look at that. Here is through Friday into Saturday, where the country will be bright and sunny for the weekend. Let's take a look at the snowfall totals as they develop through Tuesday into Wednesday morning. You can see that heavy snow developing in the Four Corners region. All of Arizona, southern Utah, southwestern Colorado, and northwestern New Mexico, all picking up heavy snow moving down into the Cascades, into the Sierras as well. You should be seeing heavy snow and high elevations in Idaho, southern Montana, and that system will move up here Thursday into Friday. And we're talking Kansas, Nebraska, right through the center of Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and northern Michigan. This has been the pattern all winter, chicken dinner. A little bit of snow coming to the northeast and the southern Appalachians with this system. And then a second whammy. Where is it? It's not coming up. Well, we have to refresh this. Give me a second. All right, so here's the first whammy. And then that second whammy is lining up Wednesday, February 22nd, heavy snow to the northeast with a nor'easter, and then another nor'easter right behind it. Let's look at the full model. So it's a 1-2 punch. And it was our prediction over 30 days ago. We said the first week of March, there will also be another blizzard in the northeast. So a lot of people in Boston were calling it the end of the winter. Ha! They couldn't be further from the truth. We're looking at 20 to 22 inches just on this model through March 1st. So it's looking like several storms coming to the northeast like a beast through the end of February. Heads up. Now, California reservoirs are being refilled by these winter deluges, according to satellite imagery. Take a look at November 19th, 2022 here, Lake Oroville, hundreds of feet low. January 30th, 2023, almost full. The same story for Shasta. November 18th, 2022, half empty. January 29th, 2023, almost full pool. So, lots of good things happening in the West. Exactly opposite of the climate alarmists' fear. Now, it's cold in Spain, Cyprus, and Eastern Europe as well. And the sudden stratospheric warming event is in full effect and will remain, well, for the rest of February into March. So if this is happening, it means it's going to be very cold in the United States, potentially cooling down for Europe as well during this stratospheric warming event. That's good news because we need more snow to fill the reservoirs. Now, as far as the climate moving forward, well, according to machine learning, it's going to be very cold, at least until 2050. So buckle up and buy some blankets. Let's take a look at the snowfall totals in Europe. It's looking pretty dry there. We're going to get a little bit of snow in Scotland, maybe Monday, February 20th. Heavy snow up in Scandinavia, especially Norway. But the heavy snow doesn't start into the Alps until Sunday, February 19th and the 20th, about 5 days from now. Then the snow will be heavy in Russia and then move into Eastern Europe, bringing record snow to some areas on the Black Sea and heavy snow throughout all of Italy, northern Spain, and northern Africa. Can you believe that? Now, Turkey, let's talk about the quake. More people are being found alive, including newborns. But hopes are dwindling. The death toll has topped 38,000 as we record the video tonight, and miracle rescues are happening a week after the historic quake. We have pictures in, more amazing shots of this surface rupture coming in. Take a look at this. This is a displacement of about maybe 16 feet vertical. And again, another one here, probably 12 foot or so, maybe if he's 6 feet high, 11 feet of vertical displacement there. So just an amazing geologic event. As the data rolls in, we have more and more confirmation on how severe of an event this was. Now, in the past, it's my supposition that whole mountain ranges were built in the same amount of time. So this pales in comparison to that. Seismic update, no quakes of note. We have some activity happening in Iceland, and we're going to get to that. The biggest quake of the day happening here in the Kermadec Islands, north of New Zealand, M6.1. Some aftershakes in Turkey, nothing significant. A big quake, a 5.0 in Romania, was quite a rocker, a 5.1 in China. Those bastards. And we do have a seismic swarm now happening in Iceland, far off the coast here. In fact, that is in the Tjörnes fracture zone, which is part of the mid-ocean ridge system. And here we are. Those were the big quakes above 3 magnitude have occurred. Boom, boom. And in fact, they are 4.5, 4.5, and 4.6 magnitude at a depth of 10 kilometers, which would be surface quakes below the surface of the sea floor, not in the middle of the sea here. But we could see more quakes happening all the way through the fracture zone, all the way onto the continent here. There's Astia up there, so we can kiss it. Hopefully that's not going to react to that, but you can see that earthquake swarm just began moments ago, so we're going to keep a close eye on the Tjörnes fracture zone. Let's look at the large, see if they get any better visuals. Not really. We don't see as far offshore looking at that map as we do at the North Atlantic. So that, we're keeping a close eye on Iceland as an uptick has just begun. How fun. Now, part of the sun is broken, and scientists are baffled. Well, they're baffled because they're not scientists, and the sun didn't break. It was a filament or a prominence that lifted off, and it's pretty normal solar activity. So Indy 100, you're nothing more than a sharticle. Now, the Weather Channel says a coronal mass ejection from the sun may put up a spectacular light show for Arctic sky watchers on Valentine's Day. Wouldn't that be swell? Well, hell, there is a coronal mass ejection from an X.1 impulsive solar flare that we can see here. Halo means that when the explosion occurs, we can see a ring all the way around the sun. So you could see stuff moving out everywhere in all directions, all the way around, which means it's coming right at us. because the perspective of this shot is Earth. So we'll keep a close eye on any activity down here on the solar wind chart. It looks like plasma speed is going way down. We did have a perturbation here. That could be the CME crossing. But the density has dropped off precipitously, so we'll have to keep a close eye on this. Let's see if nothing is happening here. We're still at below KP2. We're hovering around KP1. The 3-day geomagnetic forecast is not really predicting any geomagnetic storms either. So there's a little bump maybe from that CME, or perhaps NASA and NOAA missed it. And so stay tuned for tomorrow for us to make fun of them if in fact they did. Here is the current HMI intensity during solar maximum, and there are some sunspots, but they are weak indeed and doing very little. Very little in the way of geomagnetic effects. We're still in the C range, some small M flares in the last 24 hours, but nothing at all significant as the solar indices are all dropping off. And just to double check, we'll come over here to the SA Enlil solar spiral, and this is the solar wind prediction. That is the tiny CME that's coming, and in their prediction, it's missing us completely. So maybe there is nothing coming, but maybe tomorrow on Valentine's Day, some people won't be bumming and there will be aurora. It's the best we can do on a forecast. As the 7th shooting star ever spotted before a land strike occurred just the other day. Hey, there it is. Over the English Channel, I believe. A lot of you may have heard about this. This bolide, just the 7th asteroid we detected just minutes before it hit Earth, which is not good news. That's about all the time we have. Now, for the 7th time, a small asteroid, a meteoroid, as astronomers call it, or a bolide, these are the bright objects that streak, was discovered in space before it created the bolide impact. The predicted time and location of the impact, listed here above northern France, were made possible with the observations by European astronomers Krisztán Sárneczky using the 60-centimeter Schmidt telescope from the Pizdeko Observatory in Hungary. 2023 CX-1 is the second impactor discovered by Krisztán after the impact of 2022 EB5 less than a year ago. So these guys are looking up and they're finding stuff right before it hits Earth. So we may have a few minutes before we all die. Or it hits the ocean and then we'll have 6 hours before the tsunami kills everyone. So there is some good news, I guess. Now take a look at this post I retweeted earlier at my Twitter feed, at Diamond the Dave, Oppenheimer Ranch Project, at Diamond the Dave. Go Green, which is a total 87,000 followers. Total Climate Alarmist channel shows a picture here of a healthy calving glacier. Look at the movement of this glacier. The only way you get glacial movement this fast, moving towards the sea, is because you're in maximum glacial growth. Now, maximum glacial growth has nothing to do with catastrophic warming or climate change, but this catastrophic climate change channel uses it as part of their narrative. They're like, look, see how the glacier's breaking up? It's all your fault. It's CO2. If they got an introduction to glaciology textbook, they would learn that this is the sign of a very healthy glacier. And you guys just watching it now for the last few seconds can clearly see what we're talking about. This river of ice is flowing into the ocean, breaking off, and, well, making it less salty. And that could be bad news for many overturning circulation currents in the ocean. The more of this you have going on, the colder it gets on Earth. And them's are the facts. Now, scientists have invented a wild way to remove plastic pollution from our oceans with egg whites. And this is good news. Microplastics have polluted everything, including groundwater. And this technique removes microplastics with 99% efficiency. And it's just egg whites. Researchers at Princeton Engineering have found a way to turn our breakfast food into a new material that can cheaply remove microplastics from our ocean. These microplastics are tiny particles that result from both commercial product development and the breakdown of larger plastics. They can find their way into our food and water. They're causing everyone to become gay due to certain disruptors, but we won't get into that. Now, using regular store-bought egg whites, the team at Princeton created an aerogel, which is a lightweight material that can be used to filter water, energy storage, and used for thermal insulation as well. So this is a trifecta boom. The idea for this process came during lunch as Craig Arnold, the vice dean of innovation at Princeton, was eating a sandwich. He was sitting there staring at the bread in his sandwich and thought, this is exactly the kind of structure that we need to filter the oceans, Arnold said. Arnold set his team to work, asking them to replicate the aerogel structure he had in mind by mixing carbon with a variety of bread recipes. The group continued to take away ingredients through its tests until the egg whites were the only thing left. And boom, it worked. Here's the paper. Oh, hold on. Yes, here is the paper to prove the findings. Egg protein-derived ultralight hybrid monolithic aerogel for water purification. Say that 5 times fast. Shut up, Al! I thought you were in your hole. No bud cake. Sorry about that. Magic drug restores lost memories and unleashes hidden knowledge. It's just getting creepier. Now, this is an asthma drug, of all things. An FDA-approved asthma drug some are calling magic has shown the ability to restore lost memories and reveal previously hidden knowledge. Holy macaroni. Recovering object location memories after sleep deprivation-induced amnesia. Yeah. So, wow. We are moving forward, aren't we? So a team of researchers from the University of Groningen in the Netherlands has zeroed in on a relationship between learning while sleep deprived and the difficulties in retrieving that knowledge to unlock the door to all of the lost memories and hidden knowledge that still remains stored in our brains. And it is insane. And here's the paper. All the links will be below to everything we talk about, so go get the knowledge. That means read it. Now, I'm sure you heard, but this is what we know about the Ohio train derailment. It was horrible. A fire began in an axle 20 miles before the derailment. It could have been stopped. It went over 3 devices to stop the derailment, yet apparently they failed. And what the train was carrying was a very toxic chemical called vinyl chloride. Not polyvinyl chloride, which is in all plastics that we're using, including the microplastics that we're trying to filter out the ocean. But vinyl chloride is an extremely toxic precursor chemical to polyvinyl chloride. And if you burn it, it creates sulfuric acid, hydrogen sulfide. And that's what this plume is. It's not vinyl chloride, it's a hydrogen sulfide plume. A very toxic and very caustic acid, and there are millions of tons of it now in the atmosphere, moving east towards Europe. But our government hasn't warned a single person. In fact, they say that the water is safe. But there were major fish kills in a 20-mile region around this fire, which means that the water is not safe. So regardless of what they say, do not drink the water. Please get your own water until it can be confirmed that there is no vinyl chloride or hydrofluoric or hydrochloric acid in your water. Just 1 part per million over 8 hours is the recommended dose by the EPA for vinyl chloride. And anyone within a 50-mile radius is going to be well above 1 part per million of this chemical. So take heed and be warned. Please do not drink the water and do not go back near this area until the fires are out. Now, the U.S. jets have downed 4 objects in the last 8 days. What's going on? This is unprecedented in peacetime. And our weak leadership, Brandon, he hasn't said a word. Neither has Pete Buttigieg said a word about the bomb train and the toxic plume moving across the United States. Our administration is a laughingstock. They can't explain this or this, but they want you to have a rainbow flag in your classroom. As Americans are told to leave Russia immediately or face false arrest or imprisonment, this is World War III, like we said. And people will get dead, just like the apocalypse, the volcanic winter of 536 AD. This pales in comparison. It's estimated that 50% of the population starved to death in a dark winter that lasted 18 months. So, much more apocalyptic things have happened much more recently than we were taught in grade school. Tune in to Revolution Radio, Saturday noon, Studio B for Leah and I's 14th episode of Cosmic Catastrophe. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. We are organizing the trip out to Idaho for the largest scientific investigation into geoglyphs in North American history. And you will all be part of it. So stay tuned for updates on that journey into scientific history. Coming soon. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. And be safe. We love you.